In Tech Watch, a bold move toward transparency. Some tech companies are offering potential employees a new tool to help them calculate the pay and benefits that they'll get if they are hired. Compensation calculators are designed to help candidates understand the factors that determine their salaries. The tool also shows workers how their pay would change if they relocate or get promoted. So Michelle Ma is a reporter at Protocol, and she's here to discuss just what this practice could mean for tech industry workers. And who knows, maybe even beyond that, Michelle. So, this is really interesting to me because often when you sort of are in the middle of the interviewing process, the compensation, the final number, can be a little fuzzy. And I read a really interesting sort of tweet conversation or whatever on Twitter, the guy who applied for a job only to find out that the hourly rate that was posted was actually after he passed, a 6-month period. And the benefits were, once he got to management and he would be on the management track. And he realized, oh, the job that I am applying for is actually not the job that was posted. So let's sort of break it down. How does a compensation calculator work, and how does it determine what an employee may be entitled to?
Well, it really depends on the company. Each startup that I spoke to had its own method of revealing the factors that go into pay, but essentially think tools that allow employees and job candidates to see how their compensation is determined, as well as how it would change if they were to, say, move to another city, get promoted, or even switch teams. So it's like a website that allows you to plug in your stats, your city, your level, your benchmark pay for your role, and the exchange rate if you're international. And the output would be your base salary plus stock options. Some companies are also building this into their offer letters. So think an interactive or visual offer letter that goes really deep into, what your base pay and equity compensation means. Some of this even goes down to say what the equity percentage translates to in percent ownership of the entire company, which is really a level of transparency that's kind of above and beyond for most of these companies in tech right now. And it's really a testament to how competitive the market for talent is right now and how far companies are willing to go to attract the best talent.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes, when compensation involves all these kind of different things, it's not just your salary. It's really the person who's just like a really good negotiator that ends up with a great deal, not necessarily, someone who's going to be an incredible employee, could find themselves being paid less than someone else doing a similar job. Do you see this helping employees negotiate better and leading maybe to higher pay and better benefits and I guess more equal pay across the board?
Actually, yes. So the point of these tools is to cut out negotiation entirely. I spoke to one company, for example, called Pave. Their whole compensation philosophy is to only give out first and best offers, no negotiation allowed. And the thinking is exactly what you're saying, which is that if you stick to a benchmark system of determining pay that is guided by very specific levels, tiers, market rates, you shouldn't have to negotiate pay, which is actually a good thing when it comes to pay equity, because negotiation rewards people who are better at negotiating. So it's really a way to kind of be more equitable, not necessarily for people to, make more money, but just to be making what they should be making, and not less than the guy who was able to get more because he's just better at talking.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up about pay equity, because we've seen studies that suggest that women sometimes don't negotiate the same and so end up with lower pay. And then what ends up happening is, every year you maybe get 5% more, 10% more of that lower initial negotiation. And so you never really catch up,
Exactly.
What's in it for tech companies, though? Now they got to offer people more money, perhaps. So why are they doing this?
Well, what's in it for the companies is retention. We're in this era of the so-called Great Resignation. Everyone's talking about it. And everyone is having trouble hiring and retaining smart, talented people. So I think the reason that you're seeing so many companies, and not just startups, but big ones like Google, peeling back the onion when it comes to pay is because that's increasingly what it takes to keep people from going and working somewhere else. So, when you show someone, here's where you are right now, and here's what you would make if you were to keep at it and get promoted in 2 years, that's really motivating for people. And also the other part of it is that companies are already, they know that people are already talking to each other about pay more openly, especially this newer generation of workers. They're entering their salaries into crowdsourced spreadsheets and telling each other how much they're making. So I think a lot of these companies are thinking, hey, maybe it's better for me to be transparent than to have my employees sharing these numbers with each other without the context that I could give them.
Right. So you mentioned the great resignation, and it's happening in all sorts of industries, not just the tech industry. I mean, is there a possibility that we could see this sort of thing spreading into other areas?
Absolutely. I mean, I think, you're just seeing a lot more pay transparency in general, and it's really being led by the employees. So, for example, I think another area where I've seen this play out is the really controversial topic of location-based pay. It used to be like if you're a tech worker
Yes.
and you're living in San Francisco or New York and you want to move to, say, Boulder, Colorado, you probably expect a corresponding pay cut or a cost of living adjustment. But today, with so many more tech companies saying, hey, actually, we'll pay you San Francisco rates regardless of where you're living. And that's not just because they want to, but because they know that if they don't, their employee could easily find a job at another company that will. So I think the movement is definitely spreading, and it's been worker led, and employees are being way more transparent with each other about how much they're making. And it's really forcing the companies kind of want to get ahead of it and be transparent themselves.
Michelle, really interesting stuff. Thank you very much.
Thank you.